It took me 75 plus years to realize what I'll tell you in 20 minutes. It has taken me over 75 years to understand what I could now share with my younger self in just 20 minutes. If I had the chance to sit down with the version of me at 50, 60, or even 65, I would have so much to say, truth that took decades to fully grasp. I would tell them what truly matters and what doesn't. I'd remind them that most worries are wasted energy, that the things keeping them up at night won't even matter in the long run. I'd urge them to fight for what's worth it, to let go of what's not, and most importantly, to embrace the present before it slips away. But life doesn't work that way, does it? We don't get a cheat sheet or all the answers up front. We learn by living, trying, failing, and growing. And now, with more than 7 decades of experience, I've gained a wisdom that only time can give. Today, I want to share it with you so that maybe, just maybe, you won't have to wait as long as I did to understand what truly matters. If this message resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's grow and learn together. 1. Happiness was never ahead. It was here all along. For most of my life, I treated happiness like a distant finish line, something just beyond my reach. I believed it lived in the next achievement, the next milestone, the next version of myself, one that was somehow thinner, richer, more accomplished. I convinced myself that happiness was a prize to be earned, a reward that would finally arrive when everything in my life was just right. I'll be happy when I retire, when I lose the weight, when my children are settled, when the house is paid off, when I have more time, more money, more certainty. But here's what I wish I had realized sooner. Happiness isn't waiting for you somewhere down the road. It's already here. It always has been. We grow up believing that life is about getting to the next thing, that contentment is something we'll find later, and yet every time we reach what we thought would make us happy, we move the goalpost. We celebrate for a moment, then immediately set our sights on the next thing. But happiness isn't in the next promotion, the next 5 pounds lost, the dream home, or the perfect vacation. It's not hiding in some future version of yourself that's somehow better than who you are right now. It's in the quiet stillness of the morning as you sip your coffee. It's in the warmth of a grandchild's hug, in the deep laughter shared with an old friend. It's in the way the wind moves through the trees on a summer evening, in the first bite of a homemade meal, in the sound of your favorite song playing on the radio. I've met people who spent their entire lives chasing a dream, only to arrive and realize they were still searching for more. And I've met people who had very little, no wealth, no grand achievements, yet they radiated joy. Why? Because they understood something that takes most of us a lifetime to learn. Happiness isn't a destination. It's a way of being. I remember a conversation with an old friend in his late 80s. He told me, "You know, when I was younger, I thought happiness was something I had to chase. But the older I got, the more I realized I was stepping over it every single day. I had it all along. I just wasn't paying attention." That stuck with me, because if you're always chasing happiness, you'll never arrive. But if you stop, if you truly pause, you'll see that joy has been waiting for you all along. You don't have to wait for retirement, the perfect body, or the perfect life. You don't have to wait for everything to be just right. You can choose happiness right now. Not because life is perfect, not because it isn't hard, but because you finally understand. Joy was never hiding. It was just waiting for you to notice. 2. Health is the greatest wealth, and it's never too late to invest in yourself. When we're young, we move through life as if our bodies are invincible. We push them, neglect them, take them for granted. We eat whatever we want, sacrifice sleep, ignore aches and pains, believing there will always be time to get healthy later. But later comes faster than we expect. One day we wake up and our body reminds us, sometimes gently, sometimes sharply, that it has been with us through every decision we've made. Whether we treated it with care or neglect, it has kept the record. For a long time I thought health was about numbers on a scale, about fitting into old clothes, about diet plans, workout routines, discipline and restriction. But now, I know true health is so much more than that. Health is the ability to bend down and play with your grandkids without wincing in pain. It's the strength to take a long walk on a crisp autumn morning, feeling your legs steady beneath you. It's waking up with energy instead of exhaustion. It's the freedom to live your life without being controlled by doctor's appointments and medications. I've met people in their 70s who are more vibrant and full of life than some in their 40s. And I've met people in their 60s who have already resigned themselves to decline, convinced that their best years are behind them. The difference isn't luck. The difference is choice. Our bodies are like gardens. If we neglect them, weeds take over. Muscles weaken, joints stiffen, energy fades. But if we nurture them, even with small daily care, they remain strong, flexible, and full of life. Aging will bring changes no matter how well we care for ourselves, but we have far more control than we think. I once knew a woman in her 80s who walked every single day, rain or shine. She wasn't training for a marathon. She wasn't obsessed with fitness. She simply understood that movement was life. If I stop moving, she told me, I'll never start again. She had seen too many of her friends lose their mobility, not because they had to, but because they slowly let it go. And that's the truth. We don't lose our strength because we age. We age because we stop using our strength. If I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self to care for my body, not because I wanted to look better, but because I wanted to live better. I would remind myself that every small decision, a short walk, an extra hour of sleep, a home-cooked meal, was an investment in my future self. The good news, it's never too late. The human body is astonishingly forgiving. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 60, or 90. Your body will respond to care. Muscles can regain strength. Joints can regain flexibility. Energy can return. Even small changes, adding more vegetables to your plate, taking an evening stroll, stretching in the morning, can create a ripple effect that transforms how you feel every single day. There is a version of you, even at this stage of life, that is stronger, healthier, and more full of vitality than you imagine. And that version of you isn't waiting in some distant future. It's waiting right now, in the small choices you make today. Your body is the only home you will ever truly live in. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. 3. Why relationships matter more than anything else. If I had the chance to live my life all over again, I wouldn't ask for more wealth, more success, or more possessions. I would ask for something far more valuable, more time with the people I love, more heartfelt conversations, more shared laughter, more quiet moments that I once took for granted. When I was younger, I believed that my achievements would define me. I worked relentlessly, chasing success, accumulating titles, securing financial stability. I thought these things would bring me fulfillment, and for a time they did, at least on the surface. But as the years passed, I began to realize a difficult truth. The things I worked so hard for mattered far less than I once believed. The promotions, the accolades, the possessions, they provided moments of pride, but they did not bring lasting joy. What truly stayed with me, what etched itself into my soul, were the people. The moments spent holding the hands of friends in their final days, listening to their reflections on life. Not once, not a single time, did I hear them say, "I wish I had spent more time at the office," or "I wish I had bought a bigger house." Instead, their final thoughts were filled with longing for the moments they let slip away. "I wish I had spent more time with my family." I wish I had told my friends how much I loved them. I wish I had let go of anger sooner. And in those moments I learned something profound. Regret is not about what we did. It's about the love we failed to give, the relationships we let fade, the moments we were too distracted to cherish. We live in a world that glorifies independence, personal ambition, and material success. But the truth is, we are not meant to walk this journey alone. No amount of money, no career milestone, no luxurious possession can replace the warmth of human connection. A hug from your child, the shared memories with an old friend, the reassuring voice of a spouse who truly knows you. These are the treasures that make life meaningful, because in the end it won't be the things we owned that define us, but the people we loved and the love we gave. The priceless value of relationships, what truly matters in the end. There are 3 relationships in life that matter more than anything else. The people who have stood by you, the ones who have truly known you, and the ones who still choose to walk beside you, even after years have passed. These are the treasures of life, the things no amount of wealth can buy. For years, I believed that time alone could heal wounds. I thought that broken relationships would mend themselves, that distance would somehow close on its own. But I was wrong. Time doesn't heal wounds, only love and effort do. Pride steals years, anger steals moments, distance steals people. If I could go back, I would choose forgiveness faster. I wouldn't wait for the other person to make the first move. I would reach out first. I would say, "I love you," more often, without assuming people already knew how much they meant to me. Because now, looking back, I realize that the greatest wealth I have is not in my bank account. It's in the voices that fill my home, the friendships that have endured the test of time, the people who still check in to see how I'm doing. It's in the laughter that echoes around the dinner table, the handwritten letters from my grandchildren, and the stories shared over a cup of coffee. If you're holding on to anger, let it go. If there's someone you miss, call them. If there's love in your heart, say it out loud. Life moves faster than we think. One day, all we will have left are the memories of how we made people feel and how they made us feel in return. In the end, we won't measure our lives by the things we owned or the goals we reached. We will measure it by the love we gave, the kindness we showed, and the relationships we nurtured. Because when everything else fades, love is the only thing that remains. 4. The fear of aging is worse than aging itself. There was a time when I feared aging, not just the physical changes like wrinkles, gray hair, and a slower pace, but something deeper. I feared becoming irrelevant, losing purpose, and watching time slip away faster than I could hold on to it. But now, after living through decades, I see things differently. Aging is not something to fear. It is something to honor, something to embrace. The only real tragedy in growing older is wasting time worrying about it instead of truly living it. When I was younger, I saw aging as a decline, a slow retreat from the world. But now I understand that aging is not about fading, it is about deepening. It is about seeing life through wiser eyes, letting go of insecurities, and finally living with clarity. Aging has given me gifts I never expected. It has given me patience, the ability to sit in stillness without needing to prove anything. It has given me wisdom, the understanding of what truly matters, and the courage to let go of what doesn't. It has given me freedom, freedom from chasing, comparing, and measuring my worth by others' expectations. Yet, I see so many people resist aging as if it were the enemy. They fight it with every cream, every dye, every procedure, as if erasing the signs of time will somehow stop time itself. But time is not the enemy. The real enemy is the belief that our value diminishes with age. I have met people in their 80s and 90s who are more alive than some in their 30s, not because they are untouched by age, but because they have embraced it. They keep growing, laughing, and learning. I once knew a woman who took up painting at 78, a man who started writing poetry at 85, a friend who traveled solo for the first time in her 70s. Aging does not take away our ability to live fully. Our fear of aging does. The real loss is not in gaining wrinkles, but in losing curiosity. It is in believing that our best days are behind us instead of ahead. It is in shrinking our world out of fear instead of expanding it with experience. Yes, I have wrinkles now, but they are more than just lines. They are stories, proof that I have laughed, cried, and lived. My hands are no longer as smooth as they once were, but they have held loved ones, built a life, and created memories. My body moves slower, but it still carries me through this world, allowing me to experience its beauty. So I no longer fear aging. I fear not living while I still can. The greatest mistake we can make is spending our precious years wishing we were younger instead of embracing the incredible privilege of growing older, because the truth is, aging is not about losing youth, it is about gaining life, and I intend to live every last bit of it. 5. The perfect moment to embark on something new isn't someday in the distant future, it's right now. For years I believed that fresh starts and bold reinventions were privileges reserved for the young, that diving into a new passion, mastering an unfamiliar skill, or redefining my identity was something best suited for those with an abundance of time ahead of them. I convinced myself that after a certain point, life was no longer about exploration but maintenance, no longer about growth, but simply going through the motions. But I was wrong. I've come to understand that the biggest obstacle standing between us and transformation isn't age. It's our own mindset. The belief that we're too late to start over, too old to chase a dream, or too set in our ways to embrace change is nothing more than a self-imposed barrier. The truth is, life is as expansive as we allow it to be, and every single moment holds the potential for reinvention. Whether you're 20, 40, or 70, the opportunity to step into something new is always within reach. The only question is, will you take it? This moment, right now, is the best time to start something new. We all once had dreams, ambitions we set aside out of fear, doubt, or simply being caught up in life's demands. But if time has taught me anything, it's this. The moment you decide to begin, no matter how late you think it is the moment you prove to yourself that it was never too late to begin with. I have met people who, well into their later years, picked up a paintbrush for the first time, only to uncover the artist within them that had been waiting for decades. I have seen men and women learn an instrument, write their first book, or master a new language, not to become the best, but simply to embrace the joy of the process. I've watched people go back to school in their 70s, fall in love again in their 80s, and explore the world for the first time in their 90s. The idea that we must stop growing because of our age is a lie that robs people of the richness life still has to offer, a lie that convinces us to stop learning, to stop evolving, to stop waking up with excitement for what's ahead. There is no rule that says dreams must end at 60. No law that says curiosity must retire when you do. No expiration date on trying something for the first time. And yet, so many people hesitate. They fear looking foolish, failing, or not being as sharp as they once were. But let me tell you something. Growth isn't about being the best. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about pushing yourself, expanding your mind, and allowing yourself to be a beginner again. I once met a man who had always wanted to play the piano, but convinced himself it was too late to learn. "What's the point?" he said. "By the time I'm any good, I'll be in my late 70s. I asked him, "And how old will you be if you don't learn?" Because time will pass either way. The years will come and go. whether you fill them with new experiences or not. The only question is, how do you want to spend them? Looking back with regret at the things you never tried, or looking forward with excitement, knowing that every single day still holds the potential for something new. I used to believe the best time to start was when I was younger. Now I know the best time to start is right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, because the only thing standing between you and the life you still want to live is the decision to step forward and begin. 6. Let go of what you can't control. For years, I carried burdens that were never truly mine to bear. I agonized over the future, replayed past mistakes, held on to anger over things I couldn't change, and exhausted myself trying to control the uncontrollable. I believed that if I planned well enough, worried long enough, or tried hard enough, I could keep life in order. That if I gripped tightly enough, things would turn out exactly as I wanted. But life has a way of humbling us, doesn't it? It whispers to us through small setbacks and teaches us through painful lessons that control is an illusion. No matter how much effort we put in, there will always be things beyond our reach. A loved one will leave. A plan will fall apart. A door we were counting on will close without warning. And all the worry in the world won't change any of it. I spent years exhausting myself over things that were never mine to control. Other people's opinions, their choices, the way time moves, the way life unfolds, the way the past remains unchangeable, no matter how many times we replay it in our minds. And then one day, I realized something. The weight I was carrying wasn't heavy because life was unfair. It was heavy because I refused to set it down. We spend so much of our lives resisting what is. We fight against reality, trying to bend it to our will, only to find ourselves exhausted and bitter when it doesn't work. But life is not meant to be a battle against what we cannot change. It is meant to be embraced, even in its unpredictability. Letting go does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we give up or become passive. It means we choose peace over resistance. It means we recognize the difference between what is ours to change and what is not. It means we trust that, even in uncertainty, life has a way of working things out. I once heard someone say, "Worrying is like carrying an umbrella every day waiting for rain." And it struck me. How often do we hold on to stress, anxiety, and fear over things that may never even happen? How much time do we waste trying to control the uncontrollable instead of simply living? If I could go back, I would tell my younger self this: set down the weight. Let go of the things that steal your peace. Forgive faster. Accept what is. Trust that no matter how life unfolds, you will be okay. And if you are still carrying burdens that are not yours to carry, I hope you find the courage to let them go. 7. We spend so much of our lives chasing after the grand moments, the milestones, the accolades, the major accomplishments. We tell ourselves that these are the things that will define us, the ones we will look back on with the greatest pride, the promotion that proved our worth, the dream vacation that marked a chapter of adventure, the house that symbolized success, the achievement that made us feel we had finally arrived. But now, standing on the other side of all those pursuits, I see the truth with absolute clarity. It was never the big moments that shaped my life. It was the small ones. The ones I barely noticed at the time, but now cling to with an ache of longing. It was the gentle weight of my child's hand in mine as we crossed the street, the way their tiny fingers curled around mine with absolute trust. It was the sound of laughter drifting from the kitchen on a lazy Sunday afternoon, mingling with the scent of something warm baking in the oven. It was the way my mother hummed while she cooked, a melody that carried more love than any words ever could. It was the long, unhurried conversations over coffee, the kind where time seemed to slow down. It was the quiet comfort of my dog resting his head on my lap, his presence a silent but steady reassurance. It was the stillness of an early morning before the world stirred awake. the golden glow of the sun creeping through the curtains as if whispering, "This is enough. This moment right here is enough." We don't realize it when we're young. We rush through these moments, believing them to be ordinary, insignificant, just part of the in-between. We convince ourselves that the best days are still ahead, waiting for us in some distant future, tied to the next great achievement. We fail to see that this fleeting, imperfect, beautifully simple now, is life itself. And one day, when these moments are gone, we will ache to relive them, to hold them just a little longer. I have sat with people in their final days, and do you know what they talk about? Not the promotions, not the money, not the awards gathering dust on a shelf. They talk about the way their partner used to look at them across the dinner table, the way their child's laughter once echoed through the halls of their home. They remember the feeling of lying in the grass on a summer afternoon, staring at the sky with no agenda, no rush, just being. They talk about love, about connection, about the seemingly small moments that turned out to be everything. And so I have stopped chasing the big things. I no longer wait for happiness to arrive at some future milestone. Instead, I pay attention. I notice the way the light shifts in the afternoon. I hold on to the unexpected phone calls, the text messages, the surprise visits. I sit longer, listen deeper, love harder. Because one day these moments will be memories, and I want to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that I truly lived them. So if you are still searching for joy in some far-off future, stop. Look around. It's already here, woven into the fabric of your everyday life, hiding in plain sight. And one day when you look back, you will see. It was never ordinary at all. This is your time. If there is one thing I know for certain after all these years, it is this. Life is not measured by the number of years we have, but by how fully we choose to live them. And the most heartbreaking thing I have witnessed, more than loss, more than hardship, is people reaching the end of their journey only to realize they spent too much of it waiting to be happier, waiting to be thinner, richer, more successful, waiting for the perfect moment to start something new, to take the risk, to follow their heart, waiting for apologies that never came, for wounds to heal on their own, for the right words to say, "I love you." But here's the truth time has revealed to me. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Life does not pause while we hesitate, while we overthink, while we let fear hold us back. It keeps moving, whether we are ready or not. It moves while we sit on the sidelines, while we second-guess ourselves, while we wait for the fear to fade. And before we know it, the years have slipped through our fingers. The people we love have grown older. The moments we could have cherished are now distant memories, leaving us wondering why we didn't hold on just a little tighter. But here's what I also know. It is never too late to start living. It is never too late to forgive, never too late to let go, never too late to pick up the phone, to take the leap, to say yes to life in all its messy, unpredictable, breathtaking beauty. If I have learned anything from the stories of those in their final years, from my own mistakes, from quiet moments of reflection, it is this: you are never too old to love, to dream, to laugh until your stomach aches, to grow into the person you were always meant to be. The greatest tragedy in life is not aging. It is reaching the end and realizing you never truly lived. So don't wait. Don't let another year, another month, another day slip away while you wish for a past you can't return to, or a future that isn't promised. Open your heart. Open your hands. Embrace the life in front of you. Right here, right now. Because when the time comes to look back, you won't remember the fears that once held you back. You won't care about the opinions that once kept you small. You won't wish you had spent more time worrying about things beyond your control. You will remember the love, the laughter, the spontaneous adventures, both big and small, the kindness you gave, and the kindness you received. And if you live with your heart wide open, if you choose to live fully, then when the time comes to say goodbye, you will do so without regret, because you will know with absolute certainty that you truly lived. These lessons are not just meant to be read or just listened to, they are meant to be lived. So go, live deeply, love fiercely, and embrace every single moment. Now I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect. What's one lesson from this that resonated with you? What's one change you plan to make in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can support and inspire each other on this journey of truly living. If this message makes sense to you, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to share a 0. Your feedback matters and helps us grow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that encourages you to live life on your own terms. Thank you for watching, and here's to making every moment count.